February the 7th. For almost 2 years, I went out every day to do an hour of Nordic walking. In case you ever wondered, the use of the sticks improves the impact of the practice on the cardiovascular system by 70 to 90% if you actually use the sticks to propel yourself forward. I'm hypersensitive. Autism and hypersensitivity often go hand in hand, so I'm hypersensitive. And so I planned my route carefully, sticking to pedestrian walks in low and no traffic areas until I hit a park around a tiny bay. I wore earbuds to limit noise, sunglasses to limit the light exposure, and a cap with a shield to narrow my field of vision. It constituted my little piece of paradise until last spring. Tons of bicycle riders said, "Who cares about the law?" and used the space protected for pedestrians to ride their bikes on. And not slowly, but at high speeds, in all directions. At several instances, bicycles from front and back flew past me within the space of a hand at the same time. I've been in the bombing at Sharm el-Sheikh, and the explosion of adrenaline inside me was no different. Fear. It took a few weeks until I developed fear only at the thought of going out there doing what I love to do. By the end of the summer, after trying to get the police to do their work, fruitlessly, and writing to the local TV station but never even getting a reply, I gave up. Now my back hurts and I feel uncomfortable in my body, and yet it is still nothing to the anticipation of these adrenaline bombs caused by these selfish people. Why am I telling you this today? Because I want to make a point about free will. It was always a move and not a scientific reality. In this example, it was my decision to stop, but the decision was not free. I had done everything I could to protect me. But in the words of one such bicycle rider who I confronted, he's sorry for me, but my situation doesn't change anything for him. And that's the way it is with every decision we make. What the decision is depends on a million factors we have no influence on. Genetics, hormones, social factor, cultural factors, and so on and so on. It's a complicated landscape. Even smells can make us more conservative. And because this landscape is so complicated, has so much data points from which even we consciously only base our decision on 1 or 2, maybe 3 if we are good. But really, we humans don't have the computing power in our conscious mind to have many different data points in there and weigh them at the same time. The concept of free will was still, from a practical perspective, a good concept to give it ultimate authority. Humanism. Our feelings are the highest law. Good enough to erect our entire liberal democratic system on this philosophical story we've inherited from the 18th century. The voter knows best, the consumer is always right, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Follow your heart. And true enough, not even the East German secret police, with its deeply embedded spies that only kept an eye on 2.5 people on average and whose had tons of insights from observations, couldn't crack the black box that were the people and their decisions. They honestly thought that the most dangerous people for the country were Depeche Mode fans. Their problem was twofold. For one, the data points they collected came from the outside of the bodies. I mean, they even collected scent samples of people, and yet there remained this inner realm, this biochemical algorithm only the person had privileged access to. And then the sheer amount of data they did collect suffocated them. There was no way to analyze and interpret all they knew. In the end, it was like looking on hieroglyphs before the discovery of a Rosetta Stone. No meaning at all. I believe that the Soviet bloc wasn't defended better when it fell, partly because the people in charge understood that they needed access to two things Their first experiment proved they needed to succeed but didn't have computing power and an alchemist's dream that is the stock exchange, which can create unlimited financial resources from thin air. Total control is not only the skill to predict decisions, but influence decisions. And where today's biotech and AI meet, this becomes possible. It's all about crunching data and then changing just a few markers, a few stories through which we construct our reality a tiny bit to get the desired results. I will elaborate on this some more in other installments. For now, my point is not to say new technology is the devil. My point is we have agency. We decide the stories we want to live in the future, not the dead people hundreds and thousands of years ago and not a few villains. But we need to be aware of this. We need to know the stories governing us right now. We need to think. We need to make a habit out of thinking, and we need to make thinking a movement to take charge again. Comment, share and like, and thank you for gifting me with a few minutes of the most precious you have, your lifetime.